The biggest lie we've had to accept about home cinema is to choose between size and quality. Well, no more. This is the Optoma UHR90DV, and over here, 4K is not even the headlining feature. In fact, it's the triple laser RGB light engine, the 5000 lumens of brightness it pushes out, Dolby Vision certification, IMAX Enhanced certification, and more. Curious? Keep watching. This projector was evaluated in a controlled reference style room. All critical image evaluation was done in a dark environment because that's where tone mapping, contrast, and color accuracy are exposed. I tested across SDR, HDR10+, Dolby Vision, IMAX Enhanced, gaming, fan noise, remote control ergonomics, and connectivity. But first, let's talk about brightness. Not the marketing brightness on the side of a 20,000 rupee portable projector from Amazon, but real, searing, retina waking brightness. To put that in perspective, Japanese competition from Sony and JVC costs about the same or even more and tops out at 3400 lumens. This thing nearly doubles that brightness. Most high-end projectors these days use a blue laser with a phosphor wheel to create white light. It's reliable, it works, but it does filter out light output. The UHR90DV ditches the wheel and uses dedicated red, green and blue lasers. What stands out immediately is the color separation. In dense scenes with layered lighting, especially with Dolby Vision content, colors retain their identity instead of smearing together. That's a classic advantage of pure RGB lasers versus phosphor-based systems. And why should you care? Color volume. This thing covers 96% of the BT 2020 color space. That is absurdly good. Most dedicated cinema projectors struggle to hit even 96% of the DCI P3 color space, which is a much smaller sandbox. BT 2020, on the other hand, is a full ocean of colors. What that means in English is that reds aren't just red, they are Ferrari red at sunset. And because it's 5000 lumens, you don't need to sit in a pitch black dungeon to see it. This is the first flagship that genuinely threatens big TV market. Now, I know what you're thinking. You can probably do the same thing with an ultra short throw projector and an ALR screen these days, which are marketed as laser TVs. But none of them give you the same level of color gamut, the brightness, or the precision optics. Optoma hasn't cheaped out on the glass either. It's an all-glass design with 10 plus elements using low dispersion glass. Fine textures like fabric, skin pores, and film grain remain intact without over-sharpening. This is native looking detail, not digitally exaggerated sharpness. And I barely even had to nudge the sharpness control to get crisp text or edges. And finally, Optoma has given us the holy trinity of installation ease: motorized zoom, motorized focus, and motorized lens shift. They've even included lens memory for those lucky few who can afford a wider CinemaScope screen at home. If you are a CinemaScope user, someone who has a 2.35:1 screen, this is non-negotiable. You press a button, the image expands. The black bars vanish. It even adjusts the subtitle positioning to compensate for the zoom. Until now, you had to stand on a chair, twist a dial like a caveman, or use expensive anamorphic lens, which were harder than uranium to source. Welcome to the 21st century. Setup was super simple too. It took me less than 15 minutes to get the Optoma from the DHL delivery van to the flight deck of USS Abraham Lincoln. Processing is handled by what Optoma calls Pure Engine Ultra. It's got the usual suspects like pure detail for sharpening, pure color to keep the white point stable, and pure motion for frame interpolation. A word of warning: pure motion or motion smoothing is fine for sports, but for the love of cinema, keep it on the lowest setting or turn it off for movies. You do not want Tom Cruise looking like he's in a cheap soap opera. However, the pure contrast algorithm is interesting. It optimizes the laser dimming frame by frame, and that brings us to the big one. Dolby Vision on projectors is rare. In fact, the only other high brightness true Dolby Vision projector I have ever reviewed has also been from Optoma. Why? Because projectors usually don't have the brightness to handle metadata properly. On paper, the UHR90DV is rated at 5000 lumens, and in the real world that translates into some serious headroom. But in the dark room, it's not used to blind you. Instead, it's used to make Dolby Vision come alive. Highlights aren't clipped, and blacks don't get crushed under the weight of your skepticism. You can even watch sports or casual content with ambient light without the image collapsing on itself. If you're used to reading TV specs over projector specs, here's a quick lesson for you. Nits equal to lumens into gain divided by area. Using this formula, if you're used to nits, you're looking at 1000 nits in this room on this screen with this throw distance. so it's comparable to the brightest mini LED available in the market. And this is where the UHR90DV earns its flagship status. Dolby Vision on projection is hard. Most projectors either dim the image too much or blow the highlights to preserve brightness. Here, Dolby Vision feels properly balanced. Since it also supports IMAX Enhanced and HDR10+, the UHR90DV reads the scene brightness frame by frame and adjusts the laser output to match. Filmmaker mode in SDR disables all processing and locks color temperature, gamma and motion exactly where they should be. If you want purity, this mode delivers it. When it comes to HDR content, Dolby Vision Cinema visibly wins over Dolby Vision Bright, Dark or Vivid options by delivering the most natural-looking skin tones while retaining the pop in color luminance that you expect from HDR. IMAX Enhanced content benefits from the projector's expanded brightness and color volume, especially in 1.9:1 aspect ratio scenes. The scale feels right and the tone mapping is judged perfectly. And for gamers, 8.5 millisecond input lag at 1080p 240Hz and HDMI 2.1. That's monitor grade speed. You aren't getting that on many other projectors.
While all three HDMI ports sport the gamepad icon, only one of them is HDMI 2.1 certified. Although all of them do activate the game mode, including ALLM and low input lag. Unless you're binge watching an entire season of Game of Thrones, fan noise is never going to be an issue even if the projector is directly over your head. With cool blue backlight and hard keys for every function, the remote is pure joy, albeit wrapped in questionable plastic.
Interestingly, it also is VISA SoundSense certified. So if you have a VISA wireless speaker, you can bypass the receiver completely. It's a niche feature, but a cool one. So, who is this for? If you are an easy customer to satisfy with an appetite for mediocre, this isn't for you. However, if you want a massive 150-inch screen that looks like the next best thing to a professional Dolby cinema, the UHR90DV is a disruptor. It brings RGB laser purity and Dolby Vision HDR to a price point that frankly is going to make the big boys a bit nervous. I'm Nishant. Don't forget to calibrate your displays and I'll see you in the next one.